Hello, if you're just joining, I can see the participant counter is going up, so that's a good sign. Hopefully everyone's getting logged in okay. Just give it a couple of minutes until everyone's online. Hi everyone, we'll just give it a couple more minutes until everyone's in. Hi everyone, if you've just joined, we'll just give it a couple more minutes. I can see the counter is starting to slow down, but we'll give it a few more minutes for people to join. Right, I think the counter is starting to trail off, so we'll maybe just get started. Okay, well, welcome everyone to today's CIPR Scotland bite-sized briefing event. I'm Sean Bell, and I'm Vice Chair of the CIPR Scotland Group, and also Group Account Director at Stripe Communications. Today's session is going to be about emerging platforms to engage with young people, from Snapchat to TikTok. Like every event in our CIPR bite-sized series, this is worth 5 CIPR CPD points, if you remember. If you would like to join in the conversation on Twitter, our hashtag is #CIPRBitesize. And if you have any questions during the session, and I do hope that you do, there's a Q&A button just at the bottom of your screen. I'd also suggest putting your screen onto gallery mode, which you'll find at the top right. We've got Chris Fairbairn from Holyrood PR, who's managing admin today, and he's also recording the session as well. No pressure, Kirsten. Whilst today's event is completely free, we would love attendees to make a donation to iProvision, the CIPR Benevolent Fund, which supports members who've lost their jobs, income, or who are struggling. And I think Chris is going to share a wee link to that if you'd like to donate. So that's all the admin done. So on with the show. Since the start of lockdown, my social media use has grown and grown and grown. And I know that I'm not alone in that. Ofcom, the UK's communications regulator, published its annual Online Nation report back in June. And it shows how our social media landscape has been absolutely transformed as people sought new ways to keep connected, informed and entertained, and even fit during lockdown. TikTok now reaches 13 million UK visitors. That was a statistic from April, and that was up from 5 million in January. Twitch, the live streaming platform for gamers, saw visitors double to 4 million between January and April. And House Party, which is the group video chat platform, increased its users from 175,000 people to 4 million before quietly dropping off the map again, I suspect, in the last few months. Ofcom's research has showed that in the UK, almost all children and young people spent time on platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, and Instagram last year. And to help us understand what that changing picture looks like in Scotland, and to gain an insight into the ways that communicators can engage with young people through digital channels, we're joined today by Kirsten Arker from Young Scot. For more than 30 years, Young Scot's been Scotland's national youth information and citizenship charity, and it engages with young people aged 11 to 26 right across Scotland. For those of you who think it's just about the Young Scot card, which most of us are familiar with, it's actually about a lot more. The charity provides information and opportunities for young people. It helps them to make informed decisions and choices, and it connects them with opportunities locally, nationally, and globally. empowering them to drive really positive change. Kirsten is the Digital Services Director at Young Scot, and she's responsible for the organisation's digital development, its use of multi-platform digital engagement, data and insight, as well as a huge range of online services for young people. What an amazing job, first of all, and thank you, Kirsten, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I wonder if we can maybe start with just hearing a little bit about what your role is at Young Scot.
Yeah. Absolutely. So as you said, I'm Digital Services Director, so really responsible for our Inform strand of our strategic plan. So that's really about how we engage with young people around sharing kind of quality assured information and making sure that young people have got the information that they need to make the most of their lives, and especially at the moment when we've been going through quite a challenging time, particularly for young people. I think it's been well documented, some of the challenges that young people have been going through recently with schools being closed, colleges and universities and the like. And so really it's about making sure that young people have got information in a format that is appropriate to them, but also on the platforms that they're spending time on. So my job is really to make sure that we do that, and we do that in the most effective way possible, and that also we are kind of innovating as we go, because as we know, kind of young people are often the trendsetters in these kind of platforms, and so it's my job to try and keep up, which isn't always easy.
And when we're talking about digital services, what kind of stuff does that include?
Yeah, so Young Scot have got our main digital information platform, young.scot. So on that, that's really the hub of a lot of our activities. So this is where you find the kind of longer form content that we produce. Probably that goes into a bit more detail. It has a lot of kind of signposting to services, and we collaborate with lots of partners to make sure we've got that quality assured information. So young.scot is our main platform, but we operate across all the kind of major social media platforms. So absolutely kind of taking that content to where young people are spending their time. So that is encompassed with our kind of digital information approach. We've also got our membership platform where young people who have the Young Scot card, of which there's over kind of 700,000 of them in Scotland, can take part in kind of positive opportunities. They can take part in volunteering opportunities, and they can kind of get points for that. It's quite akin to a loyalty kind of scheme, your kind of Tesco Club card type approach. And what they can do with those points when they earn them is kind of offset them against opportunities that they may not normally get access to. So job shadowing opportunities. At the moment, as you can imagine, we've had to pivot a lot of those online. So a lot of our kind of enhanced packages of entitlements, which we have for young people such as young carers and the likes, that we're able to offer kind of vouchers and access to online services at the moment. And similarly, just now with our Young Scot Hive kind of service design opportunities, so young people could get involved in co-designing services, involved in lots of different areas. Again, at the moment that's running digitally, so we're running those kind of digital engagement opportunities so that young people can still have their say and still influence the kind of design of services in Scotland at the moment.
Oh my gosh, such a range of online services. My God. But I wonder, because you mentioned there about taking the content to young people on the platforms where we know that they are. Where are those primarily? Where are you speaking to them?
So, I mean, at the moment, so the main kind of spaces are Instagram and TikTok really and so I think that we're seeing young people, like you mentioned in your introduction, there's been a massive increase in young people spending time on social media platforms. Not just young people, I think everybody's been spending a lot more time online. So for us, platforms like Instagram and TikTok are kind of ideal ways for us to reach young people. A lot of that, we've probably done that in quite different ways. The platforms are very, very different. So with Instagram, we've been able to use that platform. We've been quite involved, particularly working with Scottish Government around the kind of COVID response, to making sure that young people have that information around regulations and some of the changes in quite a digestible way. So we've been able to use Instagram, the kind of gallery feeds and stories, to be able to share some of that information. But what's great about that platform platform is you've got lots of kind of native tools within there. So we're able to use the things like the stories function for that kind of more transient, kind of quick information. We are able to use the kind of feed, the actual Instagram feed, for information that has to stick a bit longer and might have a bit more kind of detail. But also we've been able to use IGTV, the kind of longer form video content, to share, again, content in a more kind of engaging way. Things like stickers and polls and all that great, all the GIFs and all the great stuff that come along with that has really helped us being able to use that. But young people are definitely spending a lot of their time there because of the versatility of the platform, people using it in slightly kind of different ways. So that's absolutely been a key for us during that time. In terms of TikTok, kind of slightly different. We know that young people are spending a lot of time there and a lot of kind of leisure time, I suppose. TikTok's definitely more of a kind of place that we've used to convey maybe our kind of sense of brand identity, our kind of sense of humour, and trying to use it in that way. So slightly different from maybe some of the different messagings that we've been putting out.
Yeah, it is a very different form of content, isn't it? And I suppose I wonder if some of the people that are watching today would be familiar with how that all works and fits together. And I know that you put together some examples to maybe chat us through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought I've got some slides. I don't want to be kind of death by PowerPoint, but for those that aren't as familiar with TikTok, I thought I would run through some slides and some examples of how young Scott use TikTok and really what TikTok's about. So if it's okay, I'll go ahead and share that just now with you. Everybody can see that. Okay. So really just TikTok is about that shorter form content. The content on there kind of ranges between 3 and 60 seconds, kind of video clips. And really the kind of the core of TikTok is around kind of music and sound, and there's lots of kind of dancing and lip syncing and that kind of thing that goes on there. And it has this kind of endless scrolling capacity on it. So as you mentioned at the start in your intro, it's a very popular app. It's had globally around kind of 805 million downloads, active in a wide range of countries. But what we're seeing, I think what's interesting around these stats is that 85% of users have actually created content on the platform. It's a very active, engaged audience that are on there. Quite a lot of other social media platforms, people kind of consume a lot on there. They go and they maybe lurk a bit, or they kind of go there for content information. But what's interesting about TikTok is people are actively participating in creating content and doing that very regularly. We're seeing quite a long average time on TikTok, and kind of billions of video views monthly. But as you mentioned, that's had a significant increase during kind of lockdown and this kind of COVID-19 period. So it's a very kind of vibrant, active kind of platform. What I just thought I'd run through some of the tabs on the screen. So you do have your For You feed, which basically when you first go onto the app, it'll give you a stream of content, and it's a sound on platform. So it's, as I said, it's important, sound so important to that it's not something that's muted as you automatically come on. You can go to the Discover tab, and that's where you'll see a lot of the kind of challenges. For those that maybe know about TikTok, a lot of it is around the dance trends and different challenges and things that people take part in. And Discover tab is often where you will find out about them. But the Discover tab is also where, if you're doing any kind of I suppose kind of ads or promotional activity, that becomes quite important, because that's where a lot of those I suppose kind of more marketing challenges are discovered kind of on that page. Hashtags are really important on TikTok. Again, whether that might be in relation to a trend, it might be in relation to a sound clip or music. But much like hashtags are important kind of elsewhere in places like Twitter for maybe different reasons, people are using them to discover quite a lot of content on the platform. Obviously has your profile page and kind of creative tools that you can use. I thought I'd include a wee bit of information here that it's a vertical platform for best practice for shooting videos, mobile first. And I think the thing here is about authenticity. It's not that really highly polished content, which I think we see elsewhere, but particularly on TikTok, that's really important, that authenticity. The shorter content, so there's lots of things here that you can see that that's important, but I think that the sound aspect, there's over 20 million songs, but you can also upload your own sounds and captions and things, I think is what helps bring that platform to life, because you'll often find quite random movie quotes or just random sounds which seem to kind of take off with people. In terms of how Young Scot have used TikTok, as I mentioned, we are really kind of using it around that kind of brand awareness and to convey our sense of kind of community and who we are as an organisation. It's a more challenging platform to, I suppose, kind of communicate potentially more in-depth information. So it really is about trying to encourage young people to engage with us and potentially connect with us on different platforms, and that they are aware that it's more than just the cards that we're here for. I wanted to share some examples of some things that we've done on TikTok quite recently. And I suppose I just wanted to say for each of these kind of clips, we've had kind of multiple thousands of engagements with them. The first one around over 200,000 engagements or views of that content. So some things which seem a bit kind of daft and silly can actually get quite a lot of engagement. So well, it's a lot for us as a small charity. I'll just I should caveat that. So here we go. So that's obviously promoting our kind of discount offer, which is on our card. This one's a bit more kind of just for fun. I suppose we tend to we tend to use a hashtag, kind of make it Scottish. There's a very strong Scottish culture on TikTok, so kind of we play into that quite frequently.
Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen.
The Highlands.
The Highlands.
Dumfries.
Dumfries.
Milngavie.
Aye, fair enough. That one's quite hard. It's Mulgai.
So again, that's probably just us. That I suppose it is informative to a point, but probably not.
Yeah, also for fun.
Yeah, exactly. And then this next one's actually we believe one of the first organisations in Scotland to do some Gaelic TikTok. So we work with Board na Gaelic, and we want to encourage young people to embrace the Gaelic language. So this is movie quotes in Gaelic when we were back in the office.
Rai?
Jay?
Cavel mo Jay Fury.
Jay?
Cavel mo Jay Fury.
Chanel fuse Clark Joshua.
Ik Bishop Groot.
Shabucha Hunatari.
Day Hannum.
So that's just some examples of some things that we've done kind of in Young Scot, and as you can see, they're absolutely not high production value, and we do rely on our kind of the team to kind of be willing to kind of roll their sleeves up and sometimes make a bit of a fool of themselves. But it just shows the kind of diversity and the different things with the green screen and just different ways that you can create content.
I was just going to say it really plays into Scottish TikTok, doesn't it? And it's almost an extension of Scottish patter that you see on Twitter or Instagram, and it really plays up that content, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and I think that's where I mentioned earlier the kind of importance of the hashtag. So the hashtag Scotland, if you go into that on Twitter, I mean, there's so much on there which is really creative, but also, it plays into that Scottish sense of humour, that quite kind of self-deprecating kind of sense of humour, and what's great about that, so things like the Gaelic TikTok that we've done, on TikTok you can duet, so it's almost like responding to our videos. So we get quite a lot of people kind of then trying out language and you know, or commenting back. It's a different way of engagement. So it's great to see that kind of that very kind of Scottish culture on there, and that's something I think that for any organisation or any kind of brand or anything in Scotland, there is that opportunity to tap into that. As I say, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's been lots of great stuff. I mean, obviously over the past couple of days we've had results for young people. You know, you go on the hashtag kind of SQA and there's some really creative kind of stuff from young people where they're really conveying kind of how they feel about, you know, a certain way about their results, but you know, it's not, you know, it's a very different way of communicating than they would be on somewhere like Twitter or something like that. So there's definitely that humour bit is really important. So I think, I mean, some things that we kind of do as an organisation, it's about the quality over quantity. You know, we're not necessarily kind of putting things out every single day on Twitter, sorry, on TikTok. Definitely in lockdown it's been harder because we're relying on people doing things from home as well, rather than maybe having a few collective bods in the office to kind of come up with ideas and be part of it. But I think the key thing is we experiment on the platform, where we use the native tools and we kind of give it a go. We kind of embrace the nature of it. So I think I'll stop there with the slides, but I thought it'd just be useful to kind of run through that quickly.
That is really helpful, and I think also if anyone's not kind of had a go with the app themselves, which I would encourage you to do, it's also good just to see what the content actually looks like in there. There was a question that came through which I'll maybe just pose to you actually, because I think it's quite an interesting one. We I guess I spoke earlier about the rise of certain platforms during lockdown, and you mentioned about young people being trendsetters, and I suppose one thing that we have to bear in mind as part of that is if you are setting trends, you're probably also moving on to the next trend quite quickly. So we know that TikTok and Twitch and Snapchat have had a massive surge over the last year or so, but YouTube and Instagram have kind of kept consistently popular, but Facebook and Twitter have kind of dropped off for young people. There's a question that's come in from someone watching today who asked, do you think the age of people that are posting will go down? Or I think the question was around, as older people start to join the platform, does that then change the age?
I mean, it definitely will in the longer term, I think. I mean, again, if you, I mean, I have fallen into many a kind of TikTok hole of just spending so much time in there. They've designed it quite cleverly that they don't show you the time on TikTok. You have no idea how long you've been in there, but there's certain kind of hashtags about kind of, you know, over 40 or different things, and it hashtag kind of boomer and things, and it becomes again that sense of humour. But definitely I think you see with all kind of social media platforms that young people are engaged with, over time that demographic increases as we kind of catch up with that platform. I mean, TikTok came from Musical.ly, so again it was that kind of young people embracing that kind of music and sound and kind of taking that to the next level. So we will see a rise in demographic in that older age range, and I think we already are beginning to see that through some of the kind of data and insights. However, there's always kind of new platforms coming up behind, so it's you know, we were talking before we kind of came on broadcast about Instagram Reels, which many of you may have seen has kind of launched. It's been launching in different countries. I certainly saw it for the first time on my feed last night, but it's essentially kind of TikTok on Instagram.